All right, welcome back to second part of chapter 8.2, estimating a population proportion. So I'm going to go straight away into your homework, 8.2.3. So 439 U.S. teens aged 13 through 17 were asked whether young people should wait to have sex until they were married. 246 said yes. Construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval using the state plan do conclude method. So I'm going to leave this up here for you for a moment, and then I'm going to move on to the last part of our discussion. Okay, I'm moving on. So now we want to choose a sample size using our formula that we generated, or that I gave to you at the beginning of class. So sample, we want to find a sample size for desired margin of error. And just as a side note, if p is unknown, then we're going to use 0.5. So margin of error, we're going to generate a sample size. All right, so I want margin of error to be some value greater than or equal to some value here, and then we're going to manipulate the value for n in order to get the margin of error that we want. All right, so here's your example, fourth example. Company wants to understand its satisfaction rate from its customers. Before starting a survey, they want to know what sample size they need to achieve a margin of error within 3% at a 95% confidence level. What should the sample size be? All right, so we're going to have to use that 0.5 value that we discussed. So I want a 95% confidence interval, so we're going to use an inverse normal value to get a z-score of 1.96. So plus or minus 1.96 z-scores. So z is plus or minus 1.96 times p, which we use is 0.5, times 0.5 over n. So now we have to solve for n is going to be less than or equal to 3%. So from 0 to 3% is what we're looking for. So that margin of error is 3%. And so now we're just going to solve for n. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.3, and then I'm going to multiply both sides by the square root of n. So I end up with 1.96 divided by 0.03 times the square root of 0.25 is less than or equal to the square root of n. And then I'm going to square both sides, and I end up with 1.96 over 0.03 squared times 0.25 is less than or equal to n. So now I'm just solving for n, and I'm reorganizing the direction of the inequality symbol. N is greater than or equal to 1067. Now, because sample size, this is going to be individuals, right? I can't have 0.11, so I'm going to round up. So the value should be 1,068 people. So this would round up when we're talking about whole values. This is discussing whole values. All right. All right. So this brings us to your last set of homework problems, 8.2.4a. A poll found that 44% of American adults agree that parents should be given a voucher that is good for education at any public or private high school of their choice. How large of a sample is required to obtain a margin of error of 3%? The 99% confidence interval. We're going to use 0.44 for p hat in this case. So I want you to copy this down, and then I'm going to give you your second problem. All right, 8.2.4b. A poll found that 44% of American adults agree that parents should be given a voucher. Same thing, 99% confidence interval. And now we want to use 0.5 for p hat. And then I want you to compare the two values. All right, so I'm going to leave this up here for a moment. That's it for 8.2, estimating population proportion. Please come back and join us when we finish the chapter and talk about estimating a population mean.